Hello there, it's Imogen Caterer here. I'm the organiser of New Hope Gloucestershire Meet Up, and I also coach at www.hopecatalyst.com. It's been a bit of time since I put on a meeting for the meetup group. I've had fluey things and stuff like that, and I therefore wanted to do a catch up, so that yes, there will be some more meetings. And also, in between all that coughs and, well, it wasn't really coughs, but temperatures, exhaustion, or sometimes during them watching it through the internet, I've been able to get some deeper understanding of what I talk about in this group. It's forever a kind of growing thing. You know, no one fully understands the nature of the human mind. And that's what the group's about. It's about the kind of the nature, and when you understand it, it's like driving on the correct side of the road when you've been driving on the wrong side of the road. There's a lot less accidents you get into. You know, the world works better, seemingly, when you're in that. When you really understand the way the human mind works, because you're not driving the mind in a way that doesn't work for it, and this makes an enormous amount of difference. So yeah, that's what I talk about. So but it's impossible to fully understand this. It comes sort of, this movement began with a chap named Sid Banks who had an enlightenment experience, and that's not got religious connotations in this sense. And he had an enlightenment experience into how the human mind worked, and it absolutely transformed his life from an insecure, was it mill worker or insecure welder into an internationally known speaker. And so he had a very deep understanding of it. He had understandings after that enlightenment, you know, insights after that enlightenment experience. But he says it's not totally understandable. But the more you understand it, the better those results are. So, you know, I spent some time kind of deepening my understanding of this, and it's been interesting. Sometimes, for me, a bit difficult experience. That's not common to find it difficult. It's easy to say, I don't really believe this, and walk away. But generally, you don't have I don't find typically I have a nasty or difficult experience. This one of the experiences was a bit like that. It was a kind of intensive work. I began kind of seeing much more about what my thinking was, and in a sense how it's holding me back, and how key it was at to see through it. I think a key moment for me was I slipped from a bad mood created by my thinking into a good mood created in my thinking, and it was or created by thought, I should say. It was such a shift. Like the woman I had been talking to, who I hadn't been getting on with, you know, I could suddenly remember some really useful things she said to me, and yet in the low mood my memory was shut down so that I couldn't even remember them. And then in a better mood I could see, you know, some helpful things she'd been saying to me, and that was like really interesting to see, and really interesting to see just how much thought and thinking creates our world. I'll give you an example. I became aware about a year into this understanding that I had quite a few paranoid thoughts. Like I thought people were getting at me or setting things up so I wouldn't succeed or something like that. That's the kind of what I mean by paranoid thought. And it kind of drifted across, and I went, what a load of rubbish, and didn't buy into it. And it was interesting. I thought, I doubt those have really only just appeared. My suspicion is that I was buying into them, so I was suspicious of people, and I'm now less suspicious of people. And what I became aware of on this sort of intensive was, oh, wait a minute, I don't like people judging me. I'm very wary of that. So even though I'm often regarded as somebody who's quite authentic, I was still kind of holding back as long as I bought into that thinking. And the idea is to kind of get better at seeing through that thinking, which basically means sort of calming and stilling down. A really powerful example from a conference I watched was a speaker named Dickon Bettinger, who was talking about a British CEO who'd gone all the way over to the other side of the United States to speak to him. And it was a top British company, and he couldn't tell us which, unfortunately. But he came in, and the CEO was kind of, oh, happy, kind of, oh yes, really glad to meet you, and really kind of happy guy. You'd have thought very, very successful, everything going his way. You thought, but Dickens said, hold on. He taught them about these underlying principles of how the human mind works. The guy's mind started slowing down. He had a peaceful moment. And then the last day, in tears, he explained to Dickon that he had a son who was in trouble with the law, aged about 19, I think. And yet he'd gone to the United States, booked a whole load of business appointments before Dickon, and all afterwards as well. And he'd kind of blocked it out and gone away. And he was Mr. Happy, but he was hiding something, because he hadn't got in touch with kind of his inner self, remembering his inner self, as Dickens put it. But that inner self, that inner wisdom, he'd lost touch of it. So when he got back in touch with it as a result of Dickens' work, he said, right, I'm going to cancel all my business appointments now on. I'm going to go home, and I have already apologised to my son. And he said it in tears, because it connected him back with his humanity. As so often we're trying to be happy, or trying to improve our thinking and working very, very hard at it, and it's just a busy mind. And when you go quiet, you get more. You get more insights. You get insights. I got a lot of insights from that conference. And there's one breakout session that really hit home. But I think this recording's gone on for long enough. So I'm going to leave it here. Welcome to the group. We will be having sessions back soon. I'm not quite sure, but I've actually got 2 extra days, because one of those speakers really kind of struck me. And when I've done my 2 extra days, we'll see where I am then. So look forward to seeing you at a group meeting soon. Okay, thanks. Cheers. Bye.